Hello there. Oh, I didn't expect you for another couple of minutes. Come on in. This old thing? It's just some mammal hair. You want to learn more about it? Great. In this video, we're going to learn about mammal hair and some of the cool adaptations associated with it. Let's start off with, what is a mammal? Let's think back to when we first learned the characteristics of a mammal. Hair. They produce milk. And live birth. However, not all mammals have live birth. If you think of the platypi and the echidna. But those are the basic characteristics that most people know. However, there are a lot more, such as enucleated red blood cells, fleshy ears, movable lips, specialized teeth. But hair is the one we're going to focus on today. Next, let's talk about why mammals even have hair to begin with. Can you think of why they have hair? You said thermoregulation, you're spot on. What? Some of you didn't say thermoregulation? You don't even know what thermoregulation means? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let's break this down into the Latin and Greek roots. So let's take the word thermoregulation. The first part, thermo. Can we think of another word that uses the beginning thermo? Thermometer. What does a thermometer do? Yeah, it measures heat or temperature. So thermo is the Greek word for heat. And now regulation. What does it mean to regulate something? It means to maintain or control. Like regulations of a game, maintain and control the game. So let's put those together. Thermo, regulation, heat, control. Thermoregulation is the controlling of heat in a body. So besides thermoregulation, what are some of the other functions of mammalian hair? Let's think about it. Sensory, camouflage, warning coloration, protection, and waterproofing. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at some mammalian pelts and get a look at some of these adaptations a little more closely. First, let's take a look at this pelt here. And honestly, for this structure that I'm about to show you, we could look at pretty much any North American mammal, but I've chosen this black bear for us today. Most mammals have specialized hair on their face. This hair is tougher and thicker than most of the other hair on their body. Yeah, that's right, these are whiskers. But have you ever stopped to think about what whiskers or vibrissae are for? Whiskers are actually a sensory organ. So at the very base of the whisker is a hair follicle. And that hair follicle has tons of nerve endings associated with it. These nerve endings send signals to the brain, which allows an animal to basically feel its way through its environment. Some animals, like domestic cats, also have whiskers on their wrists. Now, it's hypothesized that these carpal vibrissae are actually used to help cats catch their prey. You see, cats are farsighted. Once they've pounced on their prey, they have a hard time focusing in on it. The wrist whiskers give the cat an extra sense, which allows them to feel their prey's movements and adjust accordingly to catch and hold their prey. Next, let's take a look at this bobcat pelt. What adaptation to survival does it show? Think about its coloration and take a close look. This animal demonstrates camouflage. The bobcat is a predator. and it needs to be able to hide so that it can stalk its prey. So it needs to be able to blend in with its environment. The mottled appearance caused by the brown, white, and black spots helps mimic the way light is scattered from the tops of the trees to the forest floor. Some animals, like this long-tailed weasel, have the ability to change colors with the seasons in order to camouflage better. What season do you think this animal was caught in? Yeah, winter. So he's changed white in order to blend in with the snow. But what's going on with this black tip? Wouldn't that make him really obvious to predators? Well, one researcher, Roger Powell, wanted to know that exact question, and he designed an experiment to test why weasels have a black tip on their tail. He made different models of weasels, one that was all white, one that had a black spot in the center of the weasel, and one that was a little bit more natural and had a black tip on the tail. He then put them out in an open area attached to a pulley and pulled them along and recorded how trained hawks struck the model. And he found that the models with the black tip on the tail were struck only about 40% of the time. The ones with a black spot in the center or that were all white were struck 90 to 95% of the time. So that shows that having a black tip on your tail actually helps to confuse your predators. They no longer know exactly where to hit. And most of the time with the black tip, the hawks would center in on that part of the body and actually allowed the fake animal to quickly move away, and only hair was pulled. Pretty good camouflage. Our next animal has the opposite of camouflage. This striking black and white pattern is super obvious in the forest. But why would an animal want to stand out rather than blend in? This is an example of warning coloration, or if you want to use a fancy science word, aposematism. It's showing other animals, there's a reason you can see me. You do not want to mess with me. And I think you guys probably know the reason why. This is a skunk. They have glands that produce an extremely stinky and smelly spray. They can actually, with accuracy, spray up to 10 feet. Wolves, bears, foxes, they have all learned to avoid this animal because they don't want to smell for days and days and days. The main predator of this animal is actually owls, who have a very, very poor sense of smell. Another function of hair is protection. The stiff outer guard hairs of most animal pelts helps protect the skin against minor cuts and abrasions. It also acts as almost a sunscreen, where it doesn't allow UV light to hit the skin and cause sunburn. The most extreme version of protection can be found in these guard hairs here that have evolved and modified into defense. Can you think of what animal this came from? That's right. These are porcupine quills. Now, they don't actually shoot out of the body like you see in some of the old cartoons, but they do easily break off and get embedded into the skin of their predators. Hair can also provide protection against water. Semi-aquatic animals like this beaver or this otter, the hair density on these pelts is super high. There are so many tiny little hairs for every square centimeter of skin that water cannot actually penetrate them and doesn't get down to the skin. So the animal never truly gets wet. This is also aided by the fact that hair is covered in an oil called sebum, which is excreted through special sweat glands of sorts. I could probably talk about mammals and their adaptations for days, but I'm not going to subject you guys to that quite yet. But I hope you learned a lot today about the many adaptations of mammal hair. And if you liked this video, check out our other video on mammalian skulls and how you can look at their structures to learn a little bit about how they lived. Some animals, like domestic cats, actually have whiskers on their whiskers.
There we go.